when do you smoke rocks? All the trauma and shit I went through was the path I had to take to meet her.
Yeah. That would move, like, just start from like the beginning, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, I was born in Johannesburg, Alberton, Randart, 1978, and went to primary school and high school there. Had a great childhood, actually. I've got an older brother, Gavin. He's 3 years older than me. He's quite successful. He's earned and achieved everything he's got in life. He's worked hard for it. Unlike me, I was a spoiled brat. I was the one that got everything I wanted and got away with murder with my mom and dad always. And I went primary, high school. After high school, 1996 is when I finished high school. In 1998, I moved down to my mom and dad, which had relocated to Cape Town. 2 days after matric, I got a job at the video store around the corner. And the one guy working there, Taz was his nickname. I got to shift there and I just hear, I'm like, Taz, where are you, dude? He says, come here, I'm in the kitchen. I went to the kitchen and it's schnaffing lines. And I said, what you doing, dude? He says, no, I'm schnaffing coke. So I said, dude, I'm so arrogant living under a rock, protected childhood. I said, dude, that's only in the movies, really now. So I said, just shut up and come have a line, try it out. So I said, fuck, why not? I'm game. I went for that and I had a line with him and felt nothing. It made no sense to me, I didn't understand it. And the following day, same thing occurred, I had a line and that's when it hit me. And damn, this was nice, cocaine was really lekker. And so me and Tidia started using drugs together and stuff. And then started going to the Doors nightclub again, as drugging buddies with him. So it was drinking and doing cocaine. And then it started with the ecstasy. And then from ecstasy, it went to acid trips. And then from the acid trips, it went to rocks. And that was a downward spiral. Rocks is, like I always say, it's a 10-second high and a 24-hour chase.
Do you remember your first time?
Yes.
Shut up about that.
First time was, funny enough, at the Doors nightclub. It was a guy sitting outside under the stairs. His name was Ryan. And he's sitting with this glass pipe and a lighter and he's inhaling. So I said, dude, what the fuck are you doing now? Because I'm into this whole new world of drugs, So I said, what the fuck are you up to? And he's like, I'm smoking rocks. I said, rocks? Are you mental? Bruce Stones. He says, geez, Clive, how stupid are you? It's crystallized cocaine. It's crack. So I said, cool, give me a hit. And he said, no, don't touch this shit. It's going to fuck your life up. Funny, I'd listened. I said, no, man. He said, no, Clive. Fuck, go, leave it. And of course, Hana, I wouldn't stop until he eventually gave me a hit. And that was it, no turning back. Just loved that first hit, I just had to have more. And with rocks, you don't stop. And it sends you into that horrible downward spiral of loner. You just always want to be alone. And you do any and everything for it. You sell everything for it. All your possessions. Yeah, fuck. I had been clean, but I'd been staying in a town called Lambert's Bay on the west coast. And I had come back home after a long time of being clean, no drinking, no alcohol, no cigarettes, just a clean lifestyle. So I picked up a lot of weight and feeling good, looking good. Had gone home to surprise visit my parents, and my mother was there all on her own at the flat in a state. She doesn't know where my father is, what. And eventually he came home and my dad was surprised to see me. So he said, come, let's go to Buckley's and go shoot some pool. And I said, cool. We went to Buckley's. My dad said, order 2 beers quickly, I'll be back now. The be back now was 7 hours later. 7 hours later, he gets in, I'm sozzled. I'm like, geez, Dad, where the fuck were you? He said, come, let's just go, I'll tell you in the car. I was like, okay, cool, we'll get in the car. And he says, now tell me this, I just want to understand, this rocks that you were smoking. Tell me about it. So I said, Dad, you know everything. I've told you about it when I was in rehab. What the fuck? Then he's like, okay, well, how much have you been paying for your stuff? So I said, why? He says, no, I'm just interested to know. So I said, okay, cool, I'll tell him and everything. And then while he's driving. And next thing I realized, okay, we're in Rugby, Brooklyn, where I used to buy my rocks. Like, why are we here? So I said, Dad, what are we doing here? He says, no, I just want to show you something. I'll be back now. And he stops the car and he's out. I'm sitting waiting. And next thing he gets into the car. And he says, now, how big were these pieces that you used to get for 50? I'm looking at him, asking him, no, this. He says, well, check, this is mine. I'm like, what the fuck? I said, Dad, what the hell? I mean, since when do you smoke rocks? I mean, you're 64 years old. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? He says, no, listen, Clive, a couple of weeks ago, I made a fuck up. Me and your mom were having a fight. I was working late and she was going on as usual. I took a drive and I ended up here and I picked up a prostitute and she introduced me to the shit. And I said, okay, I know the story, Dad. I know where it goes from here. He said, well, yeah, here's 200 rand, go get yourself some. But yeah, that's kind of where my life went wrong, really, is my father hijacked my life. We crossed that boundary that shouldn't have been crossed. So yeah, it was just, that's the biggest reason why I left Cape Town. It's because me and my father were drinking together. And I knew if I didn't make a break from him, then it was finished, yeah. He kind of hijacked my life. I withdrew from the world, basically. It's just after my mom's suicide, that's when I withdrew a lot. And yeah, I just kind of didn't fit in with society very much. When I initially stopped, it was my mom's suicide. Jeez, I haven't touched a rock since 2001. I knew me and my father's rock smoking together was one of the key influences in my mom's suicide. She committed suicide in Cape Town in 2001. Yeah. And that's when the family fell apart. When I was using rocks and all those things, I was still studying and I still had work. It's only once my mom committed suicide that things really got totally fucked up. And I had worked in very top-notch jobs. I've worked for Mastic Electronics, Mesa Computers, and Kia Ceramita. And then I ended up working in the hospitality trade. And in the hospitality trade, I was so good. It was my niche. I had a passion for it, a love for it. I ended up working with Spur head office. They had headhunted me to help open up a new Spur in Fredendal on the West Coast, which I ended up becoming operations manager for. But unfortunately, being out there, all of a sudden, my mom's suicide, everything was going too well. I was doing well, I was earning good money, I was happy, I had that girlfriend everything was just perfect. But that addict in me had to go fuck things up. I was missing home, my mom's suicide was an issue, and I was missing my dad, I was missing my brother, and I was drinking heavy again, and I ended up trying to commit suicide. Sure, sorry.
Take it down. It's a tough road, man.
I just fucked myself up. I really broke myself. Yeah, I tried to hang myself from the second story of a building and the rope snapped. Yeah, so I just remember walking into the room with everybody and I said, "Yo guys, see you in the next life." I grabbed the rope and I went outside tied it around my neck and I jumped. Yeah. And then I woke up in hospital. Fucked up. I had damaged 2 vertebrae in my spine. I cracked the one, compressed the other, shattered my left ankle, cracked my skull over here, you can still feel it. Yeah, and I spent a couple of months in traction because of that. I was supposed to not walk again, but clever me, I also did that on a Friday morning, living opposite the high school while the kids were having assembly. So fucked up. So selfish. It's fucked up, man. I've changed and I've grown up and I see things differently now. Yeah, it's just I ruined so many children's lives that day as well. You don't realize what you do to people. It's just with my mom's suicide, I know exactly the ripple effect it has. And that morning I do it in front of hundreds of school kids. And because of that, the people in Vredendal, being an Afrikaans town, had a pet hate for me. They did anything and everything in their way to work me out of that town. So that's how I ended up leaving Vredendal. When everything was going so well. And 2 days after leaving Vredendal, I was in prison. I sat in Pollsmoor for a lovely long stay of just over 2 years, awaiting trial. At that stage, it was rated the 3rd dirtiest prison in the world. No lie. I was very privileged and lucky that I had no problems with the numbers of the gangsters. I was not touched once or beaten once or anything at all. Funny enough, they actually tried to bring me in on the number, especially the 26 camp, tried to bring me in, which I said straight to the captain of that camp. I said, listen guys, ek vat met julle, but the problem is I came in here, Clive Cullen, with the ID number. I will leave here, Clive Cullen, with the ID number. I'm not going to join a 26 camp. Sorry, it's not for me. Luckily enough, what happened for me is I started doing chubbing, tattooing. So I did the tattoos for a lot of the guys in there. And the fact being that I'm working with their blood, they protect me a lot. But the funny thing is, the first chub I did, the guy gave me a 50 rand, it was during exercise. He had given me a 50 rand, he had slipped to me, so I'd kept it, because you're not allowed money in there, Moss. And the minute I walked into our cell, I said, Chris, come here, the captain. And he said, yeah, what's it? So I said, captain, yeah. And I gave him the 50, I said, listen, I did some tattooing now, and the guy gave me this. I don't want any money here, what the hell am I supposed to do with money here? All I want is a bit of tobacco. He said, my broer, ek vat met jou trap, jy het lyn, respect. He says, that's all we ask for, is that, that the guys at least help the camp. So I didn't know how it worked, but luckily my gedachte was, just give them the money, what am I going to do with it? And that was the right thing to do. Because they after he said, no bro, yeah, take half of it, and we'll take half. I said, honestly dude, just give me some tobacco, I'm happy, keep the rest for yourself. And then every time I did a tattoo, I would give them all the money. And that's where my benefit started. But I was so scared and, well, not really scared, it was just, I didn't know what was going on. I'd never been in prison before, didn't know how the system works or anything. And I was convinced I was the world's worst criminal, I'm never getting out. Luckily, I still do not have a criminal record to my name. Luckily, I walked into court the one morning after going back and forth to court over that period of time. Probably about 4 or 5 times I appeared in court. And I walked into court that last time and I said, Your Honor, with all due respect, may I speak? He's like, Mr. Cullen, you may speak. Let's hear what you have to say this time round. So I said, Your Honor, I know you may hold me contempt of court for what I'm about to say, but can I say? He says, shoot, let's hear this one. So I said, well, Your Honor, I've worked on a couple of figures and stuff, and the taxpayers are paying roughly 175 to 200 rand a day to keep me in here. A first-time offender on 3 minuscule charges. Wouldn't it make more sense if the taxpayers keep a hardened criminal in here, like a rapist, a child molester, or murderer, instead of me? He said, Mr. Cullen, with all due respect, I should hold you contempt of court. but get the fuck out of my courtroom. Use that door. All charges withdrawn. I'm like, what? What? He says, go, get out there. It was so amazing. It was like, wow, I couldn't believe it worked. The day I left, the guy said, yeah, well, this is your bed when you come back. Any given time when you come back to prison, this is your bed, you know? So I said, well, guys, I'm giving my bed away today because I'm never coming back to Paulsmoor. When I leave here today, I ain't doing anything that will get me back in prison. And I have not. I will not go back, ever. I am convinced now. I was bipolar or schizophrenic as a child. Because at home I was a different kid to the one at school, and around my friends and family I was also a different child.
Even before any substance stuff?
Yeah, this is when I was a little kid, and the school should have picked it up. I'm convinced I was bipolar and schizophrenic seriously as a kid. But I think as a child that is what caused me to end up where I am now, where the school should have picked it up. It was clear that they could see that this child's playing different character each time he's in a different scenario. Because really I was a very manipulative little kid. But that also stems down to the fact my cousin molested me as a child. And that's the other big fuck up. Yeah, I was like 6, 7 years old. Luckily, he contracted cancer and died painfully. I say that with passion.
Yeah.
Because he fucking took my innocence. He fucked me up.
Were your parents not aware?
They didn't know until I told them very much later in my life. And they at least believed me. Like my dad said, you've never lied about anything. Yeah, you've manipulated like a little shit, but you've never fabricated stories or lied. So they did believe me and stuff. And yeah. Luckily on my cousin's deathbed before the cunt died, sorry, excuse the language, he did confess to it as well. Maybe 18 years older than me. Bastard.
You feel that obviously a big part to play?
Yeah, that was a big reason why, yeah. That's why I'm convinced I was schizophrenic bipolar.
Yeah.
Hiding away from that, yeah. Yeah, they go and they destroy your whole childhood and your innocence. It's just... I go visit my mom's sister and them on weekends. And whenever we went to go visit them, then he'd fucking be a puss. Sorry, it's just a very horrible... It's a very hateful situation for me. I've only recently started dealing with this thing. Yeah. I just started drinking too much and stuff, and then I'd lost a girlfriend that I was really in love with. And that's what caused me to drink a hell of a lot. And I just woke up one morning and I said, Dad, you know, I'm sick and tired of living like this. You know, I wake up and drunk. It feels like I'm in the bottom of a toilet trying to claw myself out, and every time I get to the room, somebody flushes it and I'm back at the bottom. And I just can't do it anymore. Yeah. I said, I've got to get away from here, otherwise I'm going to drink myself to death. Yeah. And I started walking that day, and all I remember is my dad shouting for me. I just carried on walking. 10 years there in Cape Town, and then I came down to PE. And I was only supposed to be here for like 2 days for a weekend. But this is after I had walked from Cape Town to here. Yeah, it had taken me 5 days to get from Cape Town to here. It's a mission I had to do to get away from being a full-blown alcoholic. Yeah, I was pretty much strung out on the street of Vasco in Cape Town, drinking myself into a coma every day, on tappies nogal.
What age did that kick off at?
28.
28. How long have you been there?
I've been here now 12 years. Now what happened is I was going to come surprise visit my brother who relocated here. And I bumped into a friend that I knew, Paul, and we went to Spa in Warmer, First Avenue. And when we were there, this girl walked past me, and I said to my friend, oh, well, that's my type of woman. And he said, well, I'll go talk to her. And I said, no, we left it. We walked out of the shop. And funny enough, she came running after me. And she had a son with her, a 13-year-old son. And she said, listen, you dropped us. And And I took it, and it was actually a piece of paper with a phone number on. So I could see it was her son. So I said, oh, thanks very much, because I checked. So I don't want to say anything in front of her son. I said, thanks very much, and walked off. And it was about 2 or 3 days, 3 days that I didn't phone her. And eventually I plucked up the courage and I phoned her. And that was on a Friday morning. And we chatted, and she said, well, let's go for a date. I think it's Scallywags, that pub there in Walmer. And we went to karaoke that Friday night. And basically we just jowled. And 2 weeks later we were married. My father, when I was a young kid, I witnessed my father beat my mother twice because of alcohol. And this is the other sad, fucked up thing. One day, Carmen and myself, that's my wife, went out for a drink. And of course, with me, it's always all or nothing. And I got very drunk. And I actually nearly hit her. I went into the bathroom, looked into the mirror, and I punched that mirror out. I said, well done, Clive. You just became your father. The one person you fucking promised yourself you wouldn't become, you became. And she said to me, she'd just come out of 13 years of an abusive relationship. Make a decision, me or the alcohol. And funny enough, I just knew there and then, this is the woman. And I said, fine. And I poured the drink down the drain. And I said, no, you. And that was the last time I drank. I just knew, fuck it, if I drink now, I'm going to lose this woman. I can't afford that.
Yeah.
She was brilliant. Phenomenal girl.
Cool. So you haven't drank since?
No.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Yeah, it's been 12 years.
Good. Yo.
Because prior to my wife, I believed I was a real piece of shit, honestly. I believed women are there to use and abuse, fuck them and leave them. Don't care. Didn't give a shit. I just went out of my way to hurt women. Because I was so insecure and pathetic. It was a power trip. And then up until I met my wife and all this shit that happened to me, and once I met her, it all changed. She was actually the first woman I'd never hurt, lied to, or cheated on. For the first time in my life, I was actually a decent man to a woman for 10 years. And then she had to pass away. She picked up a lung infection. And that was a roller coaster ride. It happened so fast. On the Thursday, we went to the clinic because she was complaining of shortness of breath. They told us to come back on the Monday for the results. That Saturday morning at 5 o'clock, she wakes me up. She said, babe, phone an ambulance, I'm dying. And I took one look at her and I realized she's not lying. I just saw the look in her face. So I phoned the ambulance. They eventually got there an hour and a half later. That was at 6:30. They eventually got the drip in for her. 7 o'clock, we're at the Livingston. By 12 o'clock, they're getting her ready to go for x-rays. I said, okay, babe, I'm gonna shoot on home, get you toiletries and a change of clothes. I'll be back now. They came back. When I got there, it was 2 o'clock. Her x-rays had been done and she was in the ward. In the interim, I had actually phoned my brother and told him Carmen's not doing well, she's at the hospital. And he said he'll do what he can, he'll try and be there, but he's busy with a client. And funny enough, when I got back to the hospital, my brother was there. And we were told to just hang on because they're going to bathe my wife now. So we went outside for a smoke at 14:30. And at 14:35, the doctor came in and said, sorry, she's gone. Yeah. And that fucked me up too, badly. And that's also why I thank the Lord that I fucked up with the suicide thing.
Yeah, it gave you that chance to kind of have that piece of life.
But everything I went through in life, all the trauma and shit I went through, was the path I had to take to meet her.
Yeah.
So if I didn't go through all of that shit, I would never have met her. So I don't wish things were different. But yeah, I know, luckily through the growth process I've had through all this shit in my life and stuff, I kind of also see it as like God needed her more than I had. She had to go back home.
Yeah.
Because she was such an angel. She really was an angel.
Yeah.
And I feel that her work on earth was done. She was here for me to finally find out what true love was and to learn to respect and appreciate women.
Yeah.
And that was done. She had fucking achieved what she was supposed to do and she had to go home.
Yeah.
And that's helped me with the mourning process, is to say thank you, Lord. You gave me 10 years of happiness. Some people spend their entire lives searching just for a little bit of happiness. I had 10 years of it. Yeah, well, I only really ended up on the street here in PE after my wife died.
Yeah.
But when she died, it's just fucked me up totally. Really, it did. I know that I didn't choose directly to say, fuck, I woke up one morning, I want to go to the streets. But it's through choices and things that have happened that led me here.
Yeah.
But I'm dealing with those things. I'm being given the opportunity and the privilege from God to deal with these things now. They make me a better person and stuff, so at least inside of my soul and things with God will be right when the time comes. But there is a bigger picture for me of being here. Maybe it's to help others or get my message across so others don't have to end up so fucked up. Who knows? But yeah, maybe it's there. But I'm happy with where I am at the moment and who I am.
Yeah. Things are.
For once, I'm actually happy with the person I am.
I think that's just a great big step.
Yeah, that's a big step for me.
It's a life changer. I mean, it's. Yeah.
Just to point it out to the people, don't sit and judge me, because it can happen in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Nobody chooses to be at the robots. It's not my family heritage. My name isn't embedded on that pavement. It wasn't handed down to me. And I don't wish it upon anybody. It's not a nice place to be.
Yeah.
But we don't choose to be there. But some of us are there because it's the only way to generate a bit of money. You know, I'm not going to go out and commit crime. Sorry. Ain't going to work.
Yeah.
That's about it. Sure.
Cool, dude.
Thank you very much, Josh.
That was it. Want a cup of tea?